Welcome, one and all, back to Planet Film Live. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk. Welcome to episode 71.
71, yeah. I am your other host, TJ Cornwell, and as Sean said, welcome back to the show. This week, as the title, I don't actually know if we're going to get to the title topic this week because we want to talk about a lot of other things. We want to talk about Boba Fett. We want to talk about Euphoria. We want to talk about Peacemaker. And I think there's one other. There's one other news story that we'll probably touch on just because I thought it was kind of big. But, yeah. Is there anything before we talk about the downfall of the Buffalo Bills?
Don't put it like that.
I know. Sorry. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Is there any housekeeping or sort of?
I mean, just one really.
Okay.
Which is, well, I guess I'll go over a couple. So I know we. Apologize if you hear this in the background. I recently went through a lot of bins and refound a fidget spinner from, was that 2016 or 2017? The fidget spinners.
It's probably 2016, 2017, somewhere in there.
Found it in a bin from somewhere like that and rediscovered the joy of a fidget spinner. Can't help myself. But I know you guys have heard me. You've heard TJ at the top of the shows, at the end of the shows, at the top of the videos, end of the videos. Hype up all of our activity on other platforms, and that's really just because we want to get the content out to you guys. We are posting now officially. I think we can officially say usually every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Reactions, news, reviews, all that stuff over on our TikTok, which is linked down below in the description through our All My Links site, which brings up all of our social platforms. But you can also just follow us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Everything is at the official PFN, all spelled out like that. And we want to make sure that you guys are getting that extra content that we're creating for you guys. We're also usually posting it on the YouTube Shorts feature of this channel too. So if you don't have TikTok and stuff like that, if you have those platforms, make sure to follow us over there because there is some stuff that is exclusive to those platforms. Otherwise, we will post it here too because I know some people, they only follow us on YouTube or they don't use those other apps. That's totally fine too. But we want to make sure that you guys know about that stuff and are taking advantage of it as well. And then another thing that we are excited to announce that we haven't really teased anywhere is over the past few days I've been working on a kind of not rebranding, but just kind of like a refresh of our merch site. So I don't know if some people know that we have merch or not, but that is also in the description too. So we kind of relaunched here, and then we just kind of basically simplified it. I know we gotten a lot of feedback for when we previously had merch that there was like some like a lot of stuff on there and everything like that. So we've heard that from you guys. And we want to kind of streamline things, make it a little bit easier for you guys to order. So we basically just have two main designs. This one that says the logo and then says reactions, news, and reviews, as well as some Planet Film Live merch. So that's pretty much all that's on there right now. Let us know if you guys, have any feedback on the merch or anything like that. But just want to let you guys know that new merch it is the same merch site, but kind of the refresh of it is up and running now over there on our Teespring site, so we appreciate that. That's everything that I can think of. And then we also, I think we can officially say, because it's been, I think, like 24 hours since we hit it, but we hit 350 subscribers. So we wanted to hit 350 subscribers by the end of December. We hit it by the end of January. So
good enough.
Good enough. Good enough for us. So onwards and upwards to 400. Just want to thank you guys again for everybody who's watching. Again, we've had some good, results with the Instagram Reels, with the TikToks and stuff. And then recently, I think a lot of what attributed to the recent subscriber growth that we had, this little mini spurt of it, was for some reason you guys really liked that Star Wars video game news YouTube short that we did. That got a lot of interaction with you guys, so we appreciate that. If you guys joined us from that video, you could expect more news content like that coming on the channel, more discussions and everything like that. And so thank you guys for getting us there. Anything you want to say? Or?
No, I just reiterate everything you said. Thanks for 350, and on to 400 and 450, 500, etc. from there.
Boom. Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think. I don't think anything happened to me where it's like I need to tell a story. Like sometimes we go on these little mini rants, like your thing with the car, like last week. Was it last week? Yeah, last week.
Yeah. The snow did not get bad enough again that I needed to have any issue with the lady that constantly blocks her garage. So I haven't had to use the garage, but she has blocked it multiple times since last week.
Yeah, so I haven't watched, or just like saying movie-wise, I haven't watched really any movies. I've been playing a lot of games, and by a lot of games, I mean just trying to get through the Metal Gear franchise as a whole. I just finished Metal Gear Solid 3. So I'm now on to Metal Gear Solid 4, playing it on our friend Paige's PS3, because it's only on. Lended you? Yes, it's only on PS3 because apparently the game, when it came out, is so integrated into the hardware of the PS3 that it is it's really hard to port over, I guess. So that's why it still remains as a PS3 exclusive. So I started working through that 2 nights ago, and I promise this weekend I'm gonna get back on the Guardians train. I really took a break to just power through Metal Gear Solid 3, but I will be back on the Guardians train probably this weekend on Twitch, so don't forget to check that out. And I think that's it. I think that's all I have. But
and we will soon probably go. We'll like stream together and stuff again, like with either you and me or you, me, and Brandon, like we were doing for a while too. We just have gotten a little bit busier in the past week, basically. But
yeah. So I want to talk about real quick. Unfortunately, as of Sunday night, the Bills are no longer in the playoffs after a heartbreaking, to say the least, back and forth loss
of 13 seconds.
At a minute 50 or 40, whatever it was, I did not think we won, because I was like, I know Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of the field. I know. At 13 seconds, I thought, okay, like I'm usually like I'm one of those people that's like, there's still a lot of time. There's time left, and they had 2 timeouts. I thought they had 3 timeouts, but I guess they had 2. And I was like, 13 seconds, all they need is a field goal. So, maybe. But I was like, surely we could stop them. 13 seconds. Surely. It was not to be. They went down, kicked the field goal, coin flip, fucking
tails. He said.
Tails. It was heads. They took the ball, went down, scored, done. That's one of the reasons. And this game has sparked kind of a whole, do the overtime rules need to be changed, at least for the playoffs? Which I think, and my argument has always been, you flip a coin, and if you lose the toss, the other team is going to take the ball. Like, why would you not? If you're good enough offense, you're going to take the ball, you're going to go down. You're going to score, most likely, you're going to win the game. And apparently it was like, out of like some overtime games in the previous however many games or whatever it was, in the playoffs, the team that won the coin flip, it was 10-1. The team that won the coin flip. Which is like, I mean, if that doesn't spell like, kind of unfair kind of, then I don't really know what does. And, people will say like, well, you should have just stopped them. It's like, well, I mean,
it's hard,
I can tell you right, guaranteed, like whoever won that coin toss is going to win, because they just scored 25 points literally in like 2 minutes. Yeah. Both combined. So like, I don't know, like, either the Bills are going to win or the Chiefs are going to win. And
it
of
was
course,
like,
the Chiefs.
It was literally like watching. It was like watching, I don't know how to compare it, like Civil War or something. It was literally watching 2 people at the height of their physical and like, athletic abilities just mirror imaging each other for 2.5 hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was like no matter what was going to happen. Like you said, if Josh had said heads, we would be playing the next game.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like the fact that it just comes down to that. Like, I saw one of the tweets that really summed it up good for me. I forget who it was, but it was like I'm normally okay with the NFL overtime rules, but something in me just says, like, I feel like the Bills should have been able to answer that.
Right.
Like, they should have been, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels wrong that it's just, well, yep, they ran it down and that's it.
Right.
And also then there's, like, the whole thing that, like, the only reason that rule's even in place is to make sure that the game doesn't cut into, like, advertiser time.
That, and I mean, you cannot be playing football forever. So I don't, blame the NFL for wanting it to be over. It used to be, I believe, whereas you kicked a field goal, it was over. So you could get to the 50 and kick a field goal and it's over. You wouldn't even have to score a touchdown. So this made it a little bit harder. But even like this game, it was like, you didn't really want it to end, and I didn't. I feel like a lot of people thought that it should not end like that. Like, you should at least have a chance. Yeah. Because again, neither defense could stop either team. So it was kind of like whoever won the coin toss was probably going to go down there and score. I thought the defense that was just rough. Every single time I thought they were going to get him down. They didn't. That tackling was awful the entire game. Like, they could not tackle anybody, especially couldn't tackle Tyreek Hill. That I just can't. He's just too fast. Like, he has like Olympic level speed. Yeah. Like, and he's playing wide receiver in the NFL. Like, he's just outrunning. Like, you saw, he took that catch and he went 60 yards. You just can't do anything with that kind of speed. Yeah. So I can't really, I don't really fault them for that. But, the last 13 seconds, that kind of whatever they were playing, like, I'm not smart enough to know, like, defensive schemes and shit like that. But they just kind of let Travis, and I know he ad-libbed, like, the last 3 plays, Travis Kelce, but, like, he just, like, on his catch to set up the field goal, they let him go, and they didn't even jam him at the line or anything. Like, and they have 2 timeouts, so usually, like, in that kind of situation, if they have no timeouts, they're gonna want to play the side. They're gonna want to throw the ball to the sideline and then have the guy step out of bounds because it stops the clock. Yeah. But in this point, they have 2 timeouts anyway. So why would you play the sideline when they're going to take the middle of the field because they have timeouts? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't really know what the Bills were thinking in that moment. Apparently, Tyler Bass was supposed to squib kick it on the kickoff, and I guess the call never got to him. So I guess everybody was confused as to why he kicked it out of bounds.
Oh, okay.
And I guess, like, they were, like Sean McDermott was saying, like, he just kept saying, we just didn't execute, but I guess it was like they didn't want to throw him under the bus, which I get, obviously. Like, you don't want to throw your second-year kicker, like, under the bus saying, like, he fucked it up. Yeah. Because he's been money, like, these past 2 years for us, so I can't really, I'm not mad at him, but because that was everybody's question. If you were, like, looking at Twitter, everybody's like, why didn't they make them play the ball? And, why did they kick out of bounds? Because then they get it, or through the end zone or whatever, because then they start on 20-yard line and they don't lose any time. But yeah, the one good thing that came out of this game was that Josh Allen finally got his props. There were still people in kind of the national media or whatever that were like,
for sure,
he's just not, he's not that good, blah, 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 like last year was. And this was the game finally where people like, oh, okay, he's. And for me, he's at least top 5 in the league. I think he's probably top 3.
Are you saying quarterbacks or players?
Well, he's a top player in football. Yeah. He's definitely a top. I don't even know because there's so many friggin' players. Like, top for quarterback, I'd say he's top 3. For player, he's definitely up there. Yeah. Because he could just do, like, he can throw it, he can run it.
He can just do crazy shit.
He can do and same thing with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes threw that, like, he does it all the time now, but he throws, like, the sidearm down to Tyreek Hill, and it just misses Gregory Rousseau's hand, and it's a 10-yard. Like, he just does stuff where it's like, I mean, you can't do anything with that.
There's no matching it.
And, like, when they tried to tackle, like, Josh, he just, like, Tyrann Mathieu, he went out early in the first quarter, and he went to tackle him, and he, like, gave him he was out the rest of the game. Same thing with another corner. He tried to tackle him. He got like, he was out for a play because he was, like, kind of beat up. It's like, you just can't do anything with these guys, so. But yeah, that was the one good thing that came out of the game. And I was like, you know what? Finally, he got his, like, now everybody kind of sees what everybody, at least in Buffalo saw. And, You know, I
last
think
year.
there are a lot of national media people that like love Josh Allen that think he's like a really good player, but there were some of those people that were like, he's just not.
He's all hype
you know,
or
he
something.
yeah. But yeah, that was really nice to see.
But yeah, I mean, I think the greatest thing about it is, no matter what, we know that next year we'll be back right where we were. You know what I mean?
See, man, I don't want to like, you know, and shout out Gabe Davis too. 201 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like that was ridiculous. But I think we will be like, I am of the belief now that he will win a Super Bowl at some point, because he's just too good
with Buffalo.
But yeah. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he'll be one of those.
Be like a Brady, where it's just like,
well, or like Ben Roethlisberger, where Ben Roethlisberger's with the Steelers like his whole career. Like I think he'll be here his entire career.
Yeah.
If he plays like that, I mean,
why not?
Why not? You know,
if the only thing I could see is if like some horrible scandal happens with some oil company that like makes the Pagulas lose all their money or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the only thing that I can think of. And like when like 7-Eleven buys the team, they're like, oh, Josh, we can't afford that. Like that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we love him. Like he loves being here. So I don't know why he would.
And he's just so like.
But then again, you could say the same thing about Brady with New England. Like a lot of people thought he was until the end, when it was clear that he was unhappy.
Well, that was more like that was more of a coach. Yeah, that was more of a coach-player dynamic, where I don't think that is as much here, because Bill Belichick is asshole. You know, he's really tough to play for.
Yeah.
From
how long do you think? Do you think it'll be the same thing too? That like we might keep like do you think that Sean McDermott is like a new like Belichick here? Like, do you think that he'll be around for a long time? Because before him, before him, the turnover was insane.
It was, yeah. I think so. I don't. I don't see. I guess there's people like calling for him to be fired, which I don't really know why.
What?
Like, and don't get me wrong, there are some times like where he just makes these decisions where, like, for example, that first drive when we went for it on 4th down twice, and we got both of them. The first one we got the first down, the second one I think we scored the touchdown on.
Yeah.
But then there was a time in the second quarter where it was 4th and 1, and we punted. And then there are some times where we're running, and this might be more Brian Daboll like calling the offense. There's times where we like ran it 3 straight times, and we had 2 runs with Devin Singletary, and it's like, why are you taking the ball out of your best player's hands? Like, he has been on fire the entire night. Why are we not letting him throw? Or even sometimes we kind of overused him running, but when he does run, you know, there's no stopping him. He's gonna get 6-7 yards. So there's times where they just take the ball out of his hand, and it just does not make much sense.
Yeah.
And to beat the Chiefs, you have to score touchdowns. You cannot kick field goals. But yeah, I think he'll definitely be here a long time. I think he's been here 5 years at this point, 4 or 5 years. But I can definitely see him being here another 5, 6, 7 years. Like, the only thing that sucks is we're most likely going to lose both coordinators. We're probably going to lose Brian Daboll. We're probably going to lose Leslie Frazier. So, you know, those are 2 new positions that we have to fill. They're getting basically in the NFL. If you're a good coordinator, they're going to get an interview for a head coaching job, and if you get the head coaching job, then obviously you leave. That's just kind of how it works. But you know, hopefully we get good replacements and we kind of don't skip a beat. But you know, who knows? I'm excited about the draft though, and I'm excited about Gabe Davis next year, because he the entire year he's been making like really crazy catches, like in games here and there. He'll have a big game, and then he'll just kind of go away for a little bit. Like they won't throw him, like they won't do anything for him, and then he'll have another kind of really good game.
And then these last 2 games were like
but in each of those games he kind of like has this really good like moment. He'll just like track the ball like out of somehow and catch it. And he has, like, to me, he has really good hands, like, from what I've seen. But, yeah, I'm really excited about the draft. And, you know, next year, hopefully, we can, you know, at least make it to the AFC Championship again and win the game, you know. But, man, there's so many good quarterbacks. And, you know, we got Josh Allen. We got Patrick Mahomes, we got Joe Burrow, we got Justin Herbert, we got Lamar Jackson.
Do you know who the two highest paid quarterbacks in the league were, or two highest paid quarterbacks in the league were for the 2021 season?
Are you asking me, or are you?
Well, I know
the
answer. Yeah.
Oh no,
I looked up the list after the game.
I don't.
It's number 1 is Patrick Mahomes and number 2 is Josh Allen.
Yeah, well, rightfully so.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
a lot of it was everybody was saying like whoever won that game is probably going to go to the Super Bowl, and I believe like
I'd agree with
Cincinnati's good,
yeah,
but I don't think they can. Their offensive line is awful, and don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times against Tennessee, and they still won. Like he is very good, but I don't know, and they can score with them, but I just don't know if they can keep him like upright to make plays. Yeah. Like I just think they'll be after him the entire night, and I don't think the Chiefs will make the mistakes that Ryan Tannehill will make, where he threw 3 picks. But yeah, fun season. Hopefully we are in the big game next year. It actually turned out better because remember halfway through or 3/4 of the way through the season where I was like, I think I'm a little nervous. Like, are we going to make the playoffs? Or
yeah, they really pull. It's exact, but you call it too exactly like last year. You were like, well, we had that slump, and then once Josh gets like could have had a V8 moment,
right?
Like, and they bonk him on the head. He then just goes on a tear.
Yeah,
that tear lasted literally all the way up until the moment that the Chiefs scored that touchdown in the overtime. Like literally all the way up to there, because even in the 13 seconds before the 13 seconds. When there was like 58 seconds left after the Chiefs had gotten their touchdown, the camera cut to Josh, and he was just like, no, don't worry, we got it. Like, we got it. And then he did. And it was like, it's just crazy. Like, cause I feel like it's something that, other teams can relate to too. But like, we were always,
there's a lot of teams that can't.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. But like, we were always bottom of the barrel. Like, we were never in even simple stuff like, like, oh, we are the NFL commercials, like those kind of things. Our fans would never be in it. Our stadium would never be in it. Like, they would never show the Bills. Like, now it's like we're getting all this recognition, and it's like because it's finally starting to come together. And it's like just the fact that we have a player or a team with the confidence to be like, don't worry, guys. Like, well, we could pull it back, and they did. I mean, it wasn't enough, but that's the thing. It was enough, but then because of the way the rules are,
and I just think if that game is here, I think it's different. I think we win. Like again, like playing Kansas City. Yeah, you could you could even feel the energy just sitting like at home watching it on TV. Like it's
every time they cut to Kansas City fans, their mouth was just open, and they weren't saying anything. It was just. Screaming at the camera. Mm-hmm. It was crazy, but what can you do?
Well, next year.
Go Bills. All right. So, I mean, we did this last week, and you guys seemed to like it. So, let us know, what do you guys think right now in the comments? What do you guys think if you guys have watched Peacemaker or Boba Fett or Euphoria this season? Let us know your guys' thoughts. Let us know. Shout yourselves out. It looks like we got 5 or 6 people watching right now. So let us know where you guys are at with that. Also, just shout out in the live chat if you guys are watching and enjoying the show. What do you want to start with? Last week we started with...
I think, you know what?
Peacemaker.
Let's talk about Boba Fett first, because it's the most prevalent in our minds right now.
Yeah.
And you have a thought, so I'm interested to hear it.
I do. Well, yeah, I do. I mean, I just feel like...
This is spoilers for Boba Fett, though.
Yeah, spoilers.
We're talking spoilers, sorry.
Spoilers for Boba Fett, 100%. Although then again, I mean, what can you really spoil? I guess it's just like nothing like crazy happened. It was just
it's literally the title of the.
It's literally the title of the episode. That's true. Is that a bot?
No, it's 808 Smokey, bruh.
Cat. Okay. Danielle, we will address that momentarily. Oh, God. I almost want to address that first, but I can't. Well, no, because that'll be a big discussion. Okay, so Book of Boba Fett. Booba Foot. Absolutely. So Book of Boba Fett this week, Chapter 5, titled The Return of the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
How on the nose. But, all right, first two, because I have to try and reconcile these two things in my head that are fighting. First off, purely based on what I watched, plain and simple, possibly the best 50 straight minutes of live-action Star Wars ever. Definitely, for me, the best live-action episode that we've gotten of Star Wars so far. That's not even a question. Bryce Dallas Howard, I don't even want to say she obliterated it.
Yeah.
No pun intended. R.I.P. Mandalore. I really didn't mean that. But, like, even that, I mean, the execution on that, the fact that it looked like a Terminator movie in Star Wars, you know what I mean? That you just see this city that, you know, we've watched, you know, for you now, it has been years. But, like, for me, since I was a kid, this city, like, the Mandalorian city getting wiped off the face of the planet, like, that I've watched a million times on Clone Wars and Rebels, like, just gone. And all the TIE bombers going off, like, in the sunset, like, it was almost like a, what's the movie called? It was like an Apocalypse Now, like, you know, moment with all the TIE bombers.
Yeah.
And then after the bombing happens, you see all the K2 droids, like K2SO, walking through like freaking Terminators with the probe droids, looking for signs of life to just murder. Like, oh my God, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely insane. Just that aspect, and then everything else that happened with Din, right from being in right off the bat, and then being all the way throughout it. The stuff with the N1 Starfighter was like nostalgia. I mean,
does that count as fan service?
I
thought it worked well.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I think that a lot of stuff in this episode and in this show and in Star Wars in general, but I would say, yeah, this episode in particular, I think there was a lot of elements of fan service, and I think, yeah, there was never a time that it was not executed perfectly. I would say, because I mean, his new ship is an N1 Starfighter, the same ship, not the exact same ship, but the same model of ship that probably was in the battle of the Trade Federation battle above Naboo from Phantom Menace. And speaking of Phantom Menace, we went back to the Boonta Eve pod race. We watched Din go through the same caverns that Anakin went through 60 years earlier.
I thought when she first pulled the thing off that ship, I thought it was a pod racer.
And
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, whoa.
And then I was like, but it's basically like the space version of a pod racer,
right?
Like essentially. But I also think that not only was it an effective use of fan recognition or fan service, whatever you want to call it, or just, you know, effective storytelling, because it really was. It also it shows you where Din is at in his life, that he has suffered this, even though it was a necessary and, you know, on good terms parting, he still had that parting with Grogu that is clearly affecting him. And he, you know, you see him, he is going back to his old ways. He's bounty hunting again. And he seems to be like all over the place. I mean, he injures himself in the fight. He doesn't know how to properly wield the Darksaber. He can barely wield the spear. Like, you know, he's like scatterbrained. And I like that it's like he's kind of like, okay, I don't know what to do now, so I'm just going to go back to what I'm good at, but now I can't even do that because, like, my confidence is shaken because, you know, this kid changed my life type of thing. And I thought that was all great. And then I think the N1 Starfighter then comes back around and solidifies that he looks at it and he's like, how am I going to be a bounty hunter in this? And I think the answer is like, well, you're past that. You're moving on from that light. You know what I mean? And it's like, I like that we're starting to see the progression of that to lead us into Mando season 3, which then brings me to the only negative that I have with this episode is this is not a season of The Mandalorian. This is a show called The Book of Boba Fett. Now, granted, somebody said earlier, they were like, well, what if all these shows, what if it's going to be called, and this is just a theory. I mean, they've shown the title treatments and it's not this, but what if it's, The Book of Boba Fett, The Book of Ahsoka, and it's more like everything we're watching relates back to Din, but it's just, here's a person he meets along the way and here's their story.
Right.
Something like that. And I was like, okay, if that's the case, where then every one of these shows, Din is in it, and Pedro's in it. Like, I was like, that I could get on board with, and maybe that's the case. I have no doubt, and nobody should have any doubt. Every question we've ever had about, well, what do they mean they don't take their helmets off? They take them off all the time in Clone Wars. Answers it immediately in season 2. Stuff like that. Like, everything that we go, well, hey, wait a minute, John and Dave. That they circle back around. So I have no doubt. If that's the case, I'm all for it. But when I'm pitched, okay, this is Boba Fett's show. This is Boba Fett's time to shine. And then you have an episode where he literally is not in a single frame of it. And at the end, a secondary character comes in, not that Fennec is, but just by the structure of the show. Like, she's a great character, but, even like a secondary character, even as big as Fennec is, comes in at the end to kind of wrap it around. But then even then, it's like, then Mando's like, yeah, I'll help you out, but first I gotta go see Luke and Grogu. And it's like, what? Like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, I really liked the episode, by the way. I liked all I liked the beginning, the brutality of all that whole scene I thought it was funny when he's like, I don't know where this guy is you're looking for. He puts the puck down on the table. He's like, you look like him. He's like, I don't know, it's not me. And he just murders everybody in the room.
And he takes his head.
He said, I'm bringing you in hot or cold. And he brings him in cold.
Yeah, I love it. We got that line again.
But to your point, like, this is called The Book of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett is not in this episode of the show.
Yeah.
And again,
and it's not like there's 23 episodes a season.
Right. It's like 7 or 8.
There was maybe a handful of episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that Phil Coulson wasn't in.
Right.
But there's like 250 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's only 7 of these. Which really now means there's only really like 6, because if you don't want to count this one.
I think... And we know he's going to team up with them. So I'm interested to see how, because this is what, episode 5, and there's how many? 8 or 7?
7. So there's
7.
only 2 left.
So, and again, we're not going to spend a whole episode again. I'm sure I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't think we're going to spend a whole episode of him going to visit them, to visit Grogu. I hope not. But I feel like they're setting
There's so
up.
many people convinced that we are, though.
I really doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt that. But I think I think we're setting up season 3 of his journey back to Mandalore to kind of revitalize himself, or whatever they said he had to do.
Which also, Din, you're the sane one in that room. The armor is fucking crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're the cult. You know,
Yeah.
like I watched Star Wars Theory. It was this huge Star Wars, and I know it was just an innocent mistake that he was probably getting tripped up because it was a live show, but he kept saying, he was like, I don't know, man, maybe he's going to, like, join Death Watch. Maybe he's going to leave the armor. The armor is Death Watch.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan isn't. Like, somebody was like, maybe he's going to go back to Bo-Katan and join up with Death Watch. She started in Death Watch and then left pre-Vizsla. Like, that was the whole point of the Clone
Wars.
I
thought they were going to bring up Sabine at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was going to come up in conversation at some point, but obviously she didn't.
Well, they didn't. They talked about her saying that Bo-Katan was gifted it by somebody, but they never alluded to who.
Yeah. But she's probably going to show up in Ahsoka, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
For sure. And then I want her to be in Mando season 3. Like, I wouldn't mind if Sabine shows up in like the finale of Mando and then rolls over to Ahsoka.
But I am a little confused as to how we are going to end the show, because again, he's like, well, I got to go visit Grogu first. And it's like, okay, so maybe they just don't show it. Maybe he
That's
just like
really what I'm hoping.
Maybe
for.
he just comes up. He just shows up in the next episode. It's like, oh, I did my thing. I'm here. And they're like, okay, let's go fight the Pikes.
Yeah.
But man, that was a good. I really enjoyed this episode of The Mandalorian, or the Book of Boba Fett, featuring The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of. Is it? Can I pose this question to you?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that Boba Fett is just not as interesting as people want to make him out to be?
I feel like the problem is people. Well, first of all, I feel like they shot not Star Wars storytelling, but I feel like they shot Boba Fett as a character in the foot with this episode.
Right.
Because I feel like, okay, if you just think about it on screen time basis, even including all of Boba Fett's stuff in the Clone Wars, Boba Fett's had less than 3 hours of screen time.
This is the longest Boba Fett episode, too, and he's not even in it.
Yeah. Like, Boba Fett has had less than 3 hours of screen time across all, animated or live-action storytelling. Din has had the luxury of having almost, 15 hours of screen time. You know what I mean? Like, so I think by just purely on that, we had the ability to get to know Din as a person, get to know him, get to know how he functions, then kind of relish in his cool moments, then, go through tragedy with him, do all this stuff. This was the opportunity to build that relationship, because that relationship that we have with Din as fans doesn't exist with Boba Fett. It just doesn't, because we haven't seen that yet. This was the opportunity to do that, and just when we were getting there, they go, oh, but look at this cool guy that you guys all love. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it's like, well, what? Yeah, we already love him, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. I'm like, yeah, we already love him. Make us love Boba Fett, because that's what people are saying. Is they're like, oh, kind of interesting that, like, the main character, like, this was somebody said, like, Din Djarin had my attention gripped better in 5 minutes than Boba Fett had in 5 episodes.
He did.
And he did. But that's not Boba Fett's fault.
Right, yeah.
That's how they structured the story's fault.
Right.
And that I feel like people are kind of losing sight of that. But absolutely, this episode, like I said, this was the best episode so far that we've had. And I'm a huge fan of the Book of Boba Fett so far. The episode, what was it? The one with the speeders or whatever. Episode 3 was just the weaker one for me, but everything else I've loved. I'm invested in. I want to know what happens next with him and Black Chrysanthemum now that they're teaming up. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know that stuff. Like, this was cool, but I feel like it was a nice kind of interlude or a nice, like, aside, but it can't roll over again and turn into an interruption. You know what I mean? Like, it can't go further than it already did. I feel like, because then you're just completely losing sight of what the show actually is. And then I saw other people.
Is it the Book of Boba Fett or the Book of Din Djarin?
Exactly. and I saw other people saying, like, doing, like, the Rocky, the handshake meme where it's like the muscly arms, like, and it was Din Djarin and Boba Fett, and it said the king of like stealing episodes, and it was the Tython episode where Boba came in and wrecked shop and shit.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, but Din didn't steal this episode. This was Din's episode. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Boba stole that episode.
But they were still both in it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it would have been different if it was like, exactly what you just said. Like, I just feel like people are giving it a false equivalency that's like, no, like, Boba didn't even, it was like the Bills. Like, he didn't even get a chance to answer. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, no, I'm cool too, because he wasn't even on screen. So I'm hoping, like you said, really hoping that I do not want to see Grogu. I do not want to see Luke next. I'd love to see Grogu. I would love to see Luke, but I don't want to see them in next week's episode. Right. I want to this is what I want. Put Din aside focus back on Boba and Fennec, have Din come back and be like, all right, I handled it. Let's go. You know, that kind of thing.
What do you, real quick, what do you think, what was I going to say? What do you think? Oh, yeah. So the whole thing in space when he gets pulled over, what do you think of that whole thing? Like, they just were like, oh, you know, your voice sounds familiar about did you used to drive or fly a Razor Crest? And he's like, no, I didn't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, well, there was a Razor Crest that, you know, blew up this like former Imperial space stuff, you know. And then they just kind of let him go. And he's like, was that just like to put that, what's that guy's name again? The guy,
the character?
Yeah.
Carson Teva? Yeah.
Yeah. Was that just to put
him in it?
Like, because they're like, because they don't do anything with it. They're just like, he's like, well, do you want to go? He's like, well, sir, are you going to, you know, write him up after he like flies away? He's like, well, do you want to fill out all that paperwork? He's like, no. You're like, okay.
To me, I think it's cool. Honestly, I'm fine with it if it's just like Trapper Wolf and
I thought it was funny.
Carson Teva are just like recurring characters, like just in a small role like that. But I still, you know, what's her fucking face aside, like Cara Dune aside, I still want Rangers of the New Republic. Give me a show. Like I honestly would watch an entire show about Carson Teva, about just what does it mean to literally just be like Rangers in the New Republic? Like what does it mean to just be an X-Wing pilot, just policing the Outer Rim? And it would be like almost like a procedural, and it doesn't have to be this giant, you know. Okay, how does Carson Teva tie into Thrawn? You know what I mean? It's like, no, this show is just for the more. You could even say like it's for the more casual fan. It's just, you know, a nice, charming show, action adventure show set in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would want to see from it. But if it doesn't become more than that, then whatever. But I think you're definitely going to see Carson Teva again in Mando season 3, because I mean in the first season he was in it, and then in the second season he was in the X-Wing again, but then he had that episode where he actually went to Navarro and was on the ground talking to Cara Dune and stuff. So I feel like they're just going to probably keep expanding his role. And maybe he'll just be a staple character in Mando. Or like I said, I would be fine with him getting his own show. Like I always enjoy that stuff when they do that.
I just thought it was interesting that they just like pull him over and then they talk about this thing that happened in season 2.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, is Morgan? You know, because and again, with season 2, the whole intrigue of that whole kind of thing was like, oh, this is where the cloning thing kind of connects with everything.
Yeah.
And
and when are we ever going to
that's what I'm a little nervous about, because I was like, if we're setting up
Dr. Pershing,
if we're setting up him going to Mandalore, like where are we going to get with, you know, Dr. Pershing and all the other stuff?
And then I completely forgot Dr. Pershing's remember that was the final shot of Bad Batch season 1, was they went to Dr. Pershing's lab and that's like where they put Nala Se and was like, oh, we're going to do some great work together or something. And then it was like, okay, is this setting up for Mando season 3? But then now it feels like it's kind of pulling away from that. So
I don't know. Maybe
if they do something cool with the whole cloning, or
I want them to, because again, it just enhances.
Yeah,
that's what they've been. I feel like that's, again, they're not trying to, but that's what they've been doing. Some of where with the animated shows and with, you know, these live action shows, it's like, let's make things make sense from the prequel era and stuff like that. And this is what they're kind of doing with the sequel era, where it's like, you know, that whole cloning thing, I was like, oh, this would explain it.
Yeah.
That they didn't do in the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would be fine if we get a show like Bad Batch that just picked up right from the prequels, and Mando and Book of Boba Fett, which has been the first thing to bring prequel, original, and sequel elements all together in a great way. I think this episode, period, end of story, is the best example of things from the original trilogy, things from the prequel trilogy, things from the sequel trilogy, and things from Fallen Order, and the animated show. You know, it was like a melding of everything you've ever seen, all came together in this episode. But like I would love for them to be able to use whatever they're doing in the Bad Batch, even if they don't, even if it's something that maybe they're not focusing on it in Mando, but in terms of if they can do something on the Bad Batch to make the Snoke thing make more sense, do that. I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Like if Dave, he's shown before that he can, he can kind of reverse engineer and help things make sense. Right. Like you said with Clone Wars, that's basically what Clone Wars originally was. It was to help improve the sequels retroactively. Or the prequels retroactively. So if Bad Batch can do the same thing for the sequel trilogy, albeit, I mean, that's awesome. But yeah, I think great episode of just, just that one thing of just it. Yeah, and we'll have to just see what the thing is for next week, because like you said, if it's another episode entirely focused on Din, like, what are we doing?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that's what I would want, is just bring it back to Boba and Fennec and have Din show up, either partway through or at the end and be like, all right, I handled my thing. Let's go. And then in Mando Season 3, you could just open Mando Season 3 with him going and giving the thing to Grogu, and then, title card, and then, all right, now we're back to present day. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Because I saw people saying, too, like, well, I don't want them to skip over it in this show and force us to have a flashback in Mandalorian. Dude, this isn't the Mandalorian show. Like, it's not. I don't want to see that, but we'll have to see where it goes. But I have total faith in John and Dave to do the right thing.
Right.
Basically. But yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to do next?
Book of Boba Fett talk.
Yeah. Do you want to do Peacemaker next or Euphoria?
Let's do Euphoria, because it looks like Danielle has some thoughts.
Okay.
So if anyone was tuning out because of Book of Boba Fett spoilers, you can come on back. Come on back. You can unmute. So what did we say? Euphoria. So why don't you start with this one? Give us your thoughts on. So last week we did talk about episodes 1 and 2, right, of season 3. So let us know, what are your thoughts on episode 3, and then also after that, let us know a little bit about like the drama that's been going on, because I don't really know a lot of it better than what you said.
Oh yeah,
because that has been big news.
Well, wait. You want me to talk about episode 3 and the drama? Yeah. Okay. I'll start with the drama first, because that's just easy.
Yeah.
So there's been a few things I feel like popping up. This is me speaking. I haven't really read much into any of this, so this is all just kind of stuff I've been glancing at. So the first thing is apparently Barbie Ferreira, I think her name is. She plays Kat on the show. Apparently, she got into an argument or something with Sam Levinson, who
and do
created
we know what
the show.
It was about?
No, I don't think so. And writes the show. And then so there's rumors going around that after that fight, she kind of that's what, for one, that was why she was not at the premiere.
I didn't know she wasn't at the premiere.
Yes, and or at least that's what the pictures say. I don't know if she maybe snuck at the back or something. I don't know. And that's why she does not have as many scenes. Apparently, he kind of they're saying he cut her scenes out of the show. Which, hearing that, I could totally see watching the show.
Yeah,
like she's had, I feel like, 2 moments.
I mean, she was like
episodes.
the third biggest character in the first season.
Yeah, I'd say yeah, probably
definitely.
She's a pretty. She's
Yeah.
She's definitely up there. But like we see her, kind of having that crisis of, who she is, and
like
kind
her,
of
her
being
like
uncomfortable what she looks like.
Yeah.
And then we see her at dinner with that awkward exchange with her,
like 2 episodes
with
later.
Ethan, right? I think
with Ethan's parents. Yeah.
Which his mom's asshole. Oh my god.
Yeah. What did she say? What did she say?
Like,
that was very illuminating.
Yeah, that was
Go
very.
Fuck yourself. Like,
I didn't ask you.
How do you? Yeah. Like, how do you just ask someone that? Like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
How does?
Who are you?
Yeah.
I don't know. What? I'm trying to figure it out. Well, that was illuminating. Well, you asked me.
Yeah.
That's my answer. But that's so it.
Stupid.
That's all you see from her for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Maybe that is true, because the more I watch it, it just like
especially the first episode. I feel I feel like she definitely got cut out a lot in the first episode at the New Year's party because, like, at the New Year's party, they kept doing this cool thing with the, you know, how the camera would kind of go all the way from the front to the back of the house, like, and pull through everybody. That was pretty cool, but like it kept just like pulling through, and like you would see, oh, she's talking to Cassie, and then you would be like, oh, she's talking to Jules, but you never cut to a conversation with her with anyone, and it was like so clear that like everyone else had like at least some dialogue scenes, and Kat had nothing to do at that party.
And I don't know, there's something about like Dare like not liking the show, like, you know, Dare everybody learns in school. I forget what that stands for. Something about like, you know, drugs and alcohol not for kids.
Drugs and alcohol not for kids.
Something about like it perpetuating like, you know, drugs and alcohol being like having an effect on, you know, a young person's, you know, ideas of that stuff being cool and stuff like that. And isn't there another thing you mentioned?
I dare be drug free.
What was it?
It was like the Parents of America, like drug safety something, like some parental organization that kind of like does the same thing with a focus on like drug awareness and like information and stuff like that. Was also having, you know, big problems with the show and HBO.
So did Danielle say something?
Drug abuse resistance education.
Okay. Danielle said
yeah, she said a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna read what Danielle said in the chat.
Because I think it's good points.
So Danielle said, I understand feeling bad for Cassie for her childhood trauma and reasoning of needing love and validation, but you do not sleep with your friend's ex ever. Lexi was always great, reminds me of me and also the only normal teen so far. And now everyone finally is starting to appreciate her. So excited to see the play. Excited to see the play. Oh, right, the play.
I don't even know at this point. I don't even know if we're gonna get to see the play.
We better. She worked really hard on that.
Yeah, I know.
I want to see that play. You know who's gonna be right in the front row? Fez. He's gonna be right in the front row watching.
If he's even allowed on the fucking premises.
Well, he better be.
But yeah.
So I really liked the episode. That was one moment I got really mad was at dinner when his mom just made some stupid comment, and you know, you asked me the question and I answered. Yeah, that's all I'm giving you. Sorry.
And also, like, she clearly was like being so like vulnerable about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, wow, big question. Like, you know, I really don't know. Like,
it wasn't like she was like, oh yeah, I'm just like trying to figure it out. She was like, she's like, I
and
don't
she's
really
a
know
senior
how
in high
to
school.
answer it. Like,
what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other moment I got annoyed was, and Rue is starting to piss me off.
Thank you.
Like
I said, bro.
You know,
it's starting to get to me.
She got that suitcase, and I said she's gonna get high on her own supply. That's
Absolutely.
what she's gonna do, and she's not gonna be able to pay the money back. And
I was just gonna. So, all right, I have a question for you because me and my roommate got into an argument about it. Because is the plan that she had? Is she serious about the plan that she had, or was the whole thing just a made-up thing just to get the drugs?
I don't know. Oh, that's a good point.
You know what
I
I
didn't
mean?
even think about that.
Because I was like, I bet you the whole thing was because she does coke or whatever it is, like off the countertop, and she's like, oh my God, what if there was a way that I could get drugs for free? And then she goes, and like has an idea. So she got the idea because she wanted to figure out a way to get drugs for free, not because she had this great business. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She worked out the idea because she wanted free drugs. Like, so I'm wondering if she even has any intent to, because she was like, well, what if it was all these girls that were doing it? And so she hasn't talked to anyone about, like, who's going to be on board with this that we know? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Kat's going to be like, oh yeah, sign me up. I'll, peddle drugs for this lady in a massage chair. Like, I look fucking like MODOK. I don't know what that lady's deal is, but
I think she's just
I think she just wants it for herself.
No, I could get on that train, but yes, like the lady drug dealer. Mm-hmm. She's kind of mysterious because she talks very softly, but she's like, I'll get you if you don't pay me back. Like, if you don't return what's mine, like, or I'm coming after you. I'm going to sell you to some really bad people.
I did like that beat of it.
Yeah.
Where she was like, I will kill you. And then traditionally that's where somebody would be like, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But she goes, in the same exact comedic timing that someone would say I'm kidding, she goes, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it creeped me out.
And you have to think, like, where's she going to get the money from? But Danielle said, I think it was originally to get the drugs. Then she realized she needs to actually sell it. I have no clue who she'd trust to sell it. Fez already said no, and Elliot is the only other druggie.
Exactly.
Yeah. And her kind of her little spat outside after the meeting
with Ali.
Mm-hmm. I was like, honestly, it
pissed me off.
I was like, he told you this stuff in confidence, and I think that's a callback to one of the special episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you don't get to. I'm like,
where she says to him, like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me or something?"
Yeah, it's like he was like, for me personally, I was like, "Whoa!" I told you that, like, and you don't get to like throw that back at me.
Yeah, you don't get to throw that in my face.
Yeah,
like, when I told you that in like a moment of weakness.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was, that kind of annoyed me too. Let's talk about what did you think? From the beginning, were you like, oh, finally a Cal episode? And then we kind of got, I think that was the first 10 minutes, I want to say. And then it just kind of left that. I would have liked more. Like, give me more of him as a kid. Like,
well, and we never resolved what happened to the best friend.
Right. Yes, that is very true.
He just gets the call that she's pregnant, and then we jump to the modern day.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we could go back to that. Because I feel like too, this was the best Cal episode that we got in a long time. Although I feel like it's one of those things that all of the sudden they're like, oh, we're gonna write, instead of just crazy shit aside that Cal also does. Like, I mean, character wise, it's just like stern father also is very fucked up, but like in terms of the emotion and stuff, it's just like stern dad. That's like all. But now that they actually are writing his personality, I feel like it doesn't match for me. Like when he was like, I feel like the Cal that they wrote in season 1 would not have let Ashtray hit him that many times. Like I would be, yeah.
He was kind of taking it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he also believed that they would shoot him. Like at least Ashtray would.
Ashtray was gonna.
At least he would shoot.
Yeah.
You can't kill him because then that just leaves so many things unresolved.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but
I couldn't believe how many times he fucking hit him.
He was spurting blood
out of his head.
Yeah, I love how Fez is like, man, I got no idea about whatever this disc is you're talking about.
Like,
all I know is your son is messing with Rue and her friends, and I need you to tell him to leave him alone and stop sitting outside my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I.
Oh wait.
What?
Here we go. Hang on.
Oh, there's a theory.
There is a theory. Since Rue is the narrator and she was sober-ish first season, her stories were more on track. Now that she's high or whatever 24/7, her storytelling is more all over the place, which is why nobody has their own episode this season.
I could get behind that.
Or Sam Levinson just had a really good treatment for one season of TV. And then shit the bed.
Which is another rumor that apparently he's just not a good writer.
Yeah.
Which me and Sean both said, if you want to see if he's not a good writer, go watch Malcolm and Marie.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you.
And then tune in, check out our review for Malcolm and Marie almost a year ago. Spoiler alert, he's not a good writer.
The first season was good.
No, I know. Well, that's what I said. He probably just worked really hard and had a super solid, really good treatment for one season of television. You know what I mean? Like, that happens all the time where somebody could be a fucking brilliant, and spout out a movie and then or a season and then
Game of Thrones was good for 7 seasons.
Yeah, and then be like, all right, now more, and they're like, what? Which is exactly what happened with D&D for Game of Thrones, was adapting George's work, solid.
Yeah.
Now you finish it. What? Okay, how many episodes do we have? 6. Go for it. But yeah, no, I agree. I think overall at this point, I know last week I was on edge because I was like, you know, if there's not a light at the end of this tunnel, if we're not going anywhere with this, I'm like, why am I watching this? You know what I mean? Why am I subjecting myself to this?
It's rough.
I'll say this in terms of just my thoughts on this episode. Through and through, a much more palatable episode. Like,
yeah.
A lot less just intensity and like shit happening in this episode. There was still a lot of intense shit happening, don't get me wrong, but it was just a lot more like easily digestible, I feel like, in this episode. But that being said too, I just feel like this season overall, now that we're 3 episodes in, it's just nowhere near as solid as the original one.
Except for that one moment.
What's
with
going on here? We got Big Mike saying
Big Mike, wow, Trump 2024, MAGA. Except for what was it? When Cassie and Nate are having sex and his parents are sitting in the kitchen and you can hear it from. That was just weird.
That was just very weird.
Why?
And I just feel like there's a bunch of stuff that's just like weird like that this season. Whereas like the first season was like, well, the show is like fucked up. You know what I mean? But then now it's like now it's just like, why are we doing this? You know what I mean? Like that's just all I can think as I'm just like why is this happening? But yeah, I mean, I guess I
Thanks,
liked
Daniel.
yeah, thank you. I guess I liked the episode.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked Lexi's stuff in the episode. I think the whole Cassie and Nate situation is just getting more fucked up by the second.
I do feel I shouldn't say I feel bad for her. I feel bad that she like gets ready every day for him to notice her and he just kind of walks by.
Yeah.
Even though they're still, I think from what I can tell, they were still hooking up every Friday or whatever it was. But then at the end of the episode, he goes to what's her name's house.
And it's so fucked up too that he's only hooking up with her once a week. And that's all she looks forward to. Yeah. And he goes, sorry, I can't make it. And he doesn't go like, all right, we'll do tomorrow. He goes, I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you missed this window, but I'll see you next Friday. And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's so terrible.
Did you think when she was going off in the bathroom, did you think that was real?
When that happened, we paused it. Because I was like, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, if this is, because I knew right away we were going to find out if it was real or fake. I was like, if this is real right now, this just changed the entire, and I got interested for a second because I was like, yo, this would change the entire dynamic of the show. You know what I mean? Like if she really said that. And so I figured it was just going to be like, you know, it was just going to do that like pan zoom or something and then just like cut back to her just like with a blank expression, be like, well, she didn't really say any of that, but it was just ruin the thing saying, you know, she didn't really say any of that. So
right.
I don't know, but
did you think another question, did you think Cal's, well, I guess it's his wife right now. Did you think she looks like Lexi at first glance? Okay, that's what a lot of people were saying. I was like, I could.
They definitely did. Similar. 100%. They
thought that was
definitely
a little weird.
look similar. Nate is only back with Maddie to get the tape back.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Again, that relationship is just toxic to me. Yeah. Like, well, I mean, Nate is just a toxic person in general, but so is Maddie, in my opinion.
Danielle said, I love the part that was like an interview of Lexi. Yeah, I love that when it like
broke
for a second,
that was cool.
And we watched like 2 minutes of like a documentary about the making of the play. Like that, that was cool.
Funny.
Yeah,
I hope she. You know, I think that's what I'm just rooting for in this show is that Lexi and, you know, Fez isn't, you know, he's not the greatest person in the world. You know, he's dealing drugs and stuff like that, but he is he looks out for those that he cares about, and I respect that, especially with you know Ashtray, Rue. He just refuses to give Rue anything, and I do love that. Like even I think it was like the second episode of the first season when she's banging, throwing a tantrum at his door, and he's like, "Nope, not getting nothing from me."
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm looking forward to do. I think there's 8 episodes in this season.
Oh God,
7 or 8. So I don't know if are you gonna make it through to the end.
I don't know, man.
You gotta make it. I mean,
you
gotta see what happens.
I know. It's just so much information. Not even just information. It's just the way that it is. But I mean, I'm gonna watch it. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
That's Euphoria.
That's our Euphoria talk. I'll interject real quick with a talk. So, I am behind the entirety of 2 shows that I love, and I need to watch. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna watch through it tomorrow because I have to. But I did watch the first episode of one of them, which is Ozark and Cobra Kai.
Didn't part 1 come out?
Yeah.
Whatever it is? Yeah.
So I have yet to watch Cobra Kai, which came out December 31st. So it's been a long time, but don't worry. Once I watch that one, I'll talk a little bit about it on Planet Film Live. But I'm planning on doing like episode recaps on the TikTok and stuff for Cobra Kai. Ozark, I'm probably just gonna do a season like recap just because it's like a lot to kind of get through, and it's not as I don't know, it's not as like light a show to do like an you know what I mean? Like Cobra Kai, there's like cliffhangers and stuff. Like Ozark is just like heavy shit. All right, and then like it's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll do a full season review of both of them on the TikToks, but I'll do episode reviews of Cobra Kai. But I have not watched Cobra Kai yet. I did watch the first 2 episodes of Ozark season 4A. Absolutely great. Great start to it. Super.
Is 4B already filmed?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then 4B will be the last one. Which is gonna, I think.
It's gotta be this year.
Maybe.
Surely they will not make you wait a whole nother year for a second half of a season.
Well, the problem is they call it 4A and 4B, but 4A has 8 episodes. That's like a whole season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe because there's normally 10, it's either 10 or 13. It's not an 8-episode show normally. So maybe 4B will just only be like 4 or 5 episodes. Like maybe it'll just be a shorter episode count. Because it's definitely all filmed. So it might. I want to say it's something like it'll drop in the fall. I think it's like that. I think it's like September. Hopefully, jeez. But that beside that, absolutely great start to this. I think the new problem for this season and what will be, for the series finale as well once we get to the rest of season 4, it's just another thing. Like if you guys watch Ozark, you know what it is. It's just how on earth are they going to be able to pull it off or get out of it? Do they get out of it? Is it going to be like a Walter White situation where they just don't get out of it?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for Breaking Bad, I guess. But I'm super intrigued. And again, Jason Bateman, phenomenal actor, phenomenal director, phenomenal writer. Ozark is one of the best shows on TV right now, period. So I'm super excited to finish that. But yeah, so I'm probably going to finish Ozark season 4A tomorrow and then start Cobra Kai season 4 tomorrow as well.
Last thing on Euphoria real quick. Danielle said things are supposed to pick up and be crazy. Someone is supposedly dying this season. All I know is if Lexi dies, I will probably stop wiping the show.
No, literally, I probably will. Yeah.
Because what's the point? Everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
She's the only, nice person, I feel like. Mm-hmm. All right, so Peacemaker.
And she's the only person that deserves any redemption.
Right, yeah.
Even Rue doesn't.
She doesn't even need redemption.
No, yeah.
There's nothing to be redeemed of. She didn't do anything.
But, like, even Rue does, I
don't want to say she doesn't deserve redemption because she's a drug addict and, she's going through some shit, like.
Yeah.
But, they've all gone through some shit, I feel like.
But I feel like Rue is.
They all have mental problems.
Especially in this newest episode, I feel like she really, with the I would call it mental manipulation and abuse of her sister.
Oh yeah.
That really hit me of like,
Yeah.
cuz that's sober-roo thinking that out and doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so that to me was like, that was like a little extra fucked up, that like I was like, oh my god, that's like really bad. But yeah, sorry. Peacemaker.
Boom.
Let's talk Peacemaker episode 4. No,
That's 3.
Episode 4. The Chode Less Traveled.
Yes,
Wasn't
that
it?
is what
Yeah.
it is called.
I
Yeah.
was trying to think of it.
Peacemaker spoilers.
Peacemaker spoilers. For me, is a bold statement. For me, I think this might be the best episode of streaming superhero television.
Jeez, you said it was the best streaming. What was that? Didn't you say it was the best like show right now or something like that?
Best like comic book show.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Wow, this is high praise. I mean, I love Peacemakers.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Like, but genuinely, I think of, did any moment in WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, what was the other one?
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Falcon Winter Soldier, definitely not. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, or even like What If or some, anything like that. Even Mandalorian, Book of, I'll throw all that. Any of the like genre, like high quality streaming shows from any of the people. Did anything get me as invested this quickly or as emotional at a single moment as this show, but then this episode did? No, absolutely not. Like, this episode for me was amazing. The montage towards the end where it's Chris, he's getting, high and drinking and just like losing it and having those flashbacks, and we finally get a little peek behind some of the stuff.
Very unsure, but a little something.
Well, I like that we didn't find out exactly what happened.
Right.
We saw it, but we didn't know exactly. Now, whether that's because James Gunn doesn't want us to know exactly how it happened, or if there's some sort of reveal that Chris wasn't involved, but he maybe took the blame for it or something.
Right.
That's maybe like what I'm thinking, is that maybe it wasn't him, but he like took the blame or something like that.
Right.
But not even just that. Just we see what I assume is like his first kill. Like we see all that stuff, as well as just where everyone else is at with the team. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Economist fucked up with, letting Judo Master escape. So now, and I liked that too, that like before he bound him to the bed. Like, I love that we're getting there is not a single, what's her name? Amy Sedaris say in this episode of Mandalorian. Sorry, Book of Boba Fett.
Oh.
Not a single scrap of fat on her. Like, how I describe the writing in this show. Like, every minute of screen time is dedicated to character progression. Every minute is dedicated to character progression. Like, it's crazy. Like, Economist, he ties Judo Master up to the bed, and he's like, oh, that's good enough. And then, he escapes.
Yeah.
And so then in the montage, like, this time, he hooks him up to the IV, and he stations himself right next to the bed, because he's like, I can't fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot fuck up again. And it's like, that's like I love John Economist so far. Like, Steve Agee's really bringing it. But like, that he's like the 4th or 5th most important character on the show. You know what I mean? If not even lower. And like, just the fact that he is getting those moments and stuff. And then with Harcourt, just clearly hating the person that she is, but knowing that she has to deal with it and taking it out on others type of thing. And then, oh my God, Vigilante in this episode.
Oh, he kicks some ass.
He kicks some ass, absolutely. But then when he like goes in the car, well, even before that, in the prison, when he goes, you're a bad dad.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it was like the 4-year-old in him saying that.
Right.
Like, you hurt my friend Chris. Like, you're a bad dad. And then like as soon as he as soon as Robert Patrick realizes
puts
that,
it together.
yeah, he's like you see, which by the way, I'm finally done with all my Harry Potter rewatches and stuff. But the fact that Vigilante is also Cormac McLagan from the last few, it's like really messing with my head because I don't know if he's just, well, I do know because J.K. Rowling didn't cast American people, but his American accent in this show is, I didn't realize it was the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks very noticeably the exact same because it is the same person. But his accent's that good. But his acting was amazing. But the way that his face like drops when Robert Patrick starts yelling, "My son's trying to kill me," and he's like, and Adrian's like, he's like, and then when Harcourt picks him up and he just like breaks down in the car and he's like, I think I might have made things worse.
And she has like a human moment there too.
Yeah, and she's like, you know, this guy's just trying to help his friend. You know what I mean? Like, I just loved that. Like that he was just like, I'm all his like shit with like, well, I don't want you to see my face, and he has that vulnerable moment where he's just like, I'm Adrian. He's like, I think I might have made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh shit, like it hit me. Like that whole montage at the end was like just incredible. The whole episode was really great.
Right.
The reveal with Myrn and everything. How what's her name, Adebayo, how she's just getting even more deep into shit and conflicted with
well, and then she
at.
does, because they set up in, I think it was episode, it must have been the episode before that where she can't kill the bodyguard, and then Judo Master is fighting Peacemaker, and then he's about to like say something, and she shoots him. He doesn't die, right?
No,
right. He doesn't die because I think
he goes on that
Peacemaker's
great joke.
Peacemaker's like, oh, it takes a little more than a bullet to kill that guy. Or
He said these little martial arts guys. He's like, and then he goes, I've seen it before. You shoot him right in the heart, they just move a kidney up there and take its place. And she was like, that's never happened. And and I love that Peacemaker goes. It was like a handful of times, but it's happened. Like he's like, well, you might not have heard of it, but I mean, I have. Like it was just so funny.
Oh my god!
But yeah, every single character in the show is amazing and written so well, and I can't emphasize this enough that John Cena is an incredible actor.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to like the fact that sentence is not just true, but like resoundingly true. Like. Especially in like he is just so good, and even in the moment, the tiniest moment before kind of the montage kicks off, when he goes and he asks Harcourt and he says, "What was it? Can you tell me what was in my file?"
Yeah,
and then I won't repeat it on the podcast, but he says something very derogatory, and he's like, not in like I think he says like not in like a perverted way, like it's just a fact or something, and then he kind of like. You see in his face that he regrets saying that, and then he kind of looks back at her like as if he wanted to apologize, but then he walks away.
Right.
And I was like, just that moment, that. I love Marvel stuff. I love the Disney Plus shows, but like you don't get that. Like you don't get like
because in the first episode he calls that one waitress that name, and he's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, like, what do you mean? What's wrong with it? Yeah, exactly. And also like he's not wearing the Peacemaker outfit anymore. Yeah, I mean he is wearing it like on missions and stuff, but like he's not just wearing it out in public anymore. Like I feel like he's kind of realizing that he wants to, I like that we're kind of discovering who Christopher Smith is, or as well, as what Peacemaker kind of stands for. But yeah, sorry, that was my rant on it. But excellent episode. I said in my review, it's the first one I've given of this show so far. I gave a 5 out of 5 for me. Like I love this.
Yeah,
episode.
I'd probably say it. I mean, for me, the whole series is 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
For me, the Myrn reveal is interesting because I think there's a shot like before that kind of end reveal where it does show him just sitting there, but it doesn't show the glass of whatever that is.
Yeah, no.
In it,
the soup.
And you're kind of like looking at him like, why is he just like sitting there like that? He's just like really like he's literally just like like sitting up straight like this with like a blank expression, just watching TV, and you're kind of like, that's a little weird. And then at the end it shows that he has this long ass tongue sucker thing come out of his mouth, and he starts drinking the thing. So I'm interested to see like and obviously we know there's millions of butterflies all over the globe,
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see kind of where.
I feel like it's almost too much to stop now.
Oh, no, I agree. So I'm interested to see kind of what just like what is going to happen
or whatever.
Because again, we have, Robert Patrick's kind of thing too with, he's a white supremacist and this whole thing with he's in the jail and, how is this all gonna come together?
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be something that we find out that like the butterflies are like. I feel like it's gonna be something that we find out that like the butterflies are, something to like help or something. Because either way, I feel like we're gonna learn that like, okay, the butterflies aren't a threat. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes,
right.
They are taking over bodies.
Like, why is he trying to kill them? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I don't really know how it works, I feel like. I don't know how the butterflies kind of work.
Yeah, and I think purposely we don't know,
Right. Is it like a Starro situation, kind of? Like, well, Starro's like one starfish, but he has millions of other little things.
Although maybe it isn't like a hive mind thing, because then why is Myrn taking other ones out?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or maybe did Myrn just become a butterfly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe because we don't know when he became one.
Right.
But there's supposed to be an all Myrn episode coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they released the last 4 episode titles. And
okay.
I think it's episode 6 is called Myrn After Reading. Like Burn After Reading. Yeah, so it's called Myrn After Reading. And so it's like supposed to be an all him. So we'll probably find out in episode 6. So, the team probably won't find out that he's a butterfly until the end of episode 5, I'm guessing. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was super interesting. And but I feel like on kind of what you were saying, I feel like the end of this show, it's going to be like father versus son. Like, I feel like the butterfly thing's going to get resolved in like they just wanted information or something, you know what I mean? And then they're going to leave peacefully or something. And they realize like, they don't even have to be killing the people to get rid of them or something. Because there's got to be something that Judo Masters like, and you don't even know what you're fighting for.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's got some information.
Yeah, like the butterflies aren't what you think. They're, probably like they're trying to help or something, And then I think if you're talking what's the actual fight or whatever, I think Robert Patrick's going to suit up in that white dragon
Oh my
suit.
God.
Yeah, and
the whole like army of like white supremacists.
I think they're really going to go for it.
No, so do I.
Yeah,
I mean, why wouldn't you at this point?
I think they're really going to go for like specifically like the white supremacy stuff. Like I think they're really going to do it. Like
yeah.
What was the thing that we were just talking about? Oh yeah. Not white supremacy, just idiots, but it's like the same thing with like Don't Look Up. Like, it's like,
oh yeah,
if you watch this, are you going to realize that it's about you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
if somebody that, is that kind of person, watches Peacemaker, are they going to realize like that you're the villain basically?
Have they said if there's another season?
No, they haven't. But I would love, the only thing that we know is that after all the Guardians stuff is done for the Christmas special and the 3, he's doing another DC TV show. He was he said after Guardians, my next project is a DC project, and he said, and that project is a TV show.
Gotcha.
He said, he didn't say TV show. He said that project is for HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
So it could, because they're doing Max movies and stuff. So could be a movie, could be a TV show. I hope it's a TV show though, because this is really, really good. I don't know.
Show's really funny. Oh my God.
But yeah, absolutely great show. Like if you're not watching Peacemaker, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because it's so good.
Shout out John Cena. Very funny.
Yeah. All right. What are you talking about now?
I don't know. Do you want to let's just talk about real quick that Rock story that I just thought it was interesting.
Well, let us know. Read this. Let us know what the story is, and then we'll take guesses from the people watching too.
Yeah, so The Rock starred in what's it called? The Rock starred in Rampage. Well, I guess that would be the video game movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't see it. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you like it, or is it?
Nah? It was like entertaining, but it wasn't good.
Well, The Rock said a few days ago that he is making another video game movie. Quote, "We're going to bring one of the biggest, most badass games to the screen, one that I've played for years." Now, if I don't know if you saw this, but when Campia was doing his show today, John Campia, his thumbnail was The Rock as Kratos, which I was like, now that I can kind of see, because he has the build for that. He could be Kratos. And Sony's been doing a lot of adapting of their games, Last of Us, which, where is Last of Us? I feel like, is that not done yet?
Oh,
I think it's got to
the
be done,
HBO
right?
one?
Yeah. I think it's got to be done, right?
It's definitely done in principle. Like, I don't know if maybe they're doing reshoots or something, but it's supposed to be this year.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be fall.
Last of Us, they're doing Ghost of Tsushima. I think they're doing one other thing. They're doing Twisted Metal, I believe. I believe they're doing a series of Twisted Metal. So I was kind of wondering, what do you think? What would you have any guesses?
Yeah, I think
I'd throw God of War in there.
I have one that I think what it might be. I for good or ill, I genuinely feel like it. I don't know how much you play this game anymore.
Okay.
I know there was a time where we did play it.
Oh no.
I just hopped back into it again, and they are really going hard with the storyline, with Foundation and stuff. And granted, they have been this whole Foundation storyline, which is the character that The Rock plays. This whole Foundation storyline has been around for almost 2 years at this point. And he technically could be playing this game for years, because this game is like 6 or 7 years old at this point. I think they're literally doing a Fortnite movie. Like, literally, like, I think they're... Now, that could be two things. What I really hope it's not is I really hope it's not an animated movie in the style of Fortnite.
Yeah.
What I think could be good.
I think it would have to be. You have to get the kids in there, right? It's a kids. I don't want to say it's a kids game, but it's
not adult.
It's not an adult game. It's marketed, I feel like, towards more like teens and younger teens.
Okay, well, I'll see, because it's just a guess. What I would want to see, what I would be interested in seeing, is I would be interested in seeing. I think the Foundation character, which is, like, if you guys don't know, he's like the chosen one to, like, save the Fortnite universe type of thing. But there's, like, some, I won't say, like, spoiler or whatever. But there are some issues that come up with him and stuff, and he gets trapped, like, in another, dimension, and then he, like, makes this big sacrifice and stuff. But then it's revealed that he's been The Rock. And he's got this whole, like, ancient, like, long-standing, like, backstory that they haven't really gone into. So I would be down, like, if they were like, hey, we're doing, with, like, Fortnite Studios or whatever you want to say, like, we're doing, like, Epic. A Foundation, like, origin movie or something, like, to give back, and it's gonna be like a movie, you know what I mean? I would be down for that, and I think you could still make it family friendly. Like, it doesn't have to be like Black Adam, you know what I mean? Like, you could still do, because he is kind of, it's like a lighter, thing. But I think God of War is a good guess. But I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a Foundation movie, but it might be. I mean, it really might be, because The Rock, I've played the most recent chapter of Fortnite. He must have done a lot of recording in a booth. Like, he has there's, I didn't even know, like, I guess that's a good point. He has a lot of lines. He has a lot of dialogue. Yeah, and they revealed that it's always been him. Like, because he just took the mask off, but because he has a mask on most of the time, and his voice is modulated, but it's always been The Rock playing it for, like, 2 years. Yeah, for, like, 2 years. Wow. It's always been him doing it. Yeah.
I'm more on your side then of saying that if he's been playing you can assume that if he's in the game, he's probably also been playing the game as well.
No, exactly. Yeah, like, no, yeah, like, now 100%. Like, there was like 20 minutes of like cinematics where he's like fully animated as the Rock, as the Foundation, like with dialogue and stuff, like all that. Like, so yeah, he was like in it. Like, it's definitely really him. So, I don't know. I think it's possible. I think that like the like marketing in me like just the way that he talked about it, that he's like, oh, it's one of the biggest games ever. You know what I mean? And it's one of the biggest games,
biggest, most badass game to the screen. Which, again,
like
Fortnite
like,
isn't maybe badass.
Epic,
but...
yeah, like epic way, like epic wise, what he said could definitely apply to something like God of War. But also, like, publicity wise, it could definitely mean Fortnite. You know what I mean? Like, one of the most badass, best games to, hit the market,
right.
That kind of thing. But I don't know, either one. What do you guys think that he's going to be playing? Or what do you think he's hinting at?
Oh, sorry. He's told Men's Journal that he's not allowed to say what the game is, but fans can expect an announcement sometime in 2022.
Well, there you
go. Maybe... I feel like The Rock could fit
Maybe
into
he's playing Clank in the Ratchet and Clank movie?
I don't think so, but I think The Rock
Captain
could
Pork?
fit... No. That could be funny. No, I think The Rock actually... No, I don't know. I think maybe I'd have to get confirmation from Brandon on this, but I feel like The Rock could maybe fit in a Gears of War movie if they were to ever make that. He's kind of got that big.
How does
all
he
those
feel
dudes
with
are kind of
Batista though? Because Batista's been campaining to do that movie for like a decade.
Oh, how are they like together?
Mm-hmm.
Are they
are they friends?
I don't know. I don't think they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the same space. It's never been like,
I know
as long as Vin Diesel's
Batista's
not in
kind of an odd guy. Yeah, I know Batista hates Vin Diesel, and he says,
"Oh, really?"
Yeah, and he says like, "I'll never do one of those fucking Fast
Oh,
and
I
Furious
didn't know
movies or
that.
whatever." But now The Rock says he'll never do it. So it's
Yeah.
like maybe they have a mutual,
There was a common
thing.
denominator,
Yeah. Oh, did you see that? Like John Cena, like formally apologized to The Rock because he, when John Cena was still in WWE like full time, he did some interview or gave some statement that was like, basically calling out The Rock, being like, "Oh, you went Hollywood, like, you should be here every week, like, you know what I mean? If you really want to be a part of this, you gotta, whatever." And he was like, I spoke out of ignorance. He was like, I am 100%, a businessman, a film man, like an actor and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're not on that film set every single day and you're costing people to be there later to take more time to keep them from their like he went on this whole thing and he was like, I owe, 95% of what my entire Hollywood career is to Dwayne Johnson. And he was like, I am completely sorry. And I was like, that is why I fucking love John Cena. Like, he is just so and he was right. Like, he's just like, I'm a producer too. He was like, if I make, the lighting department stay late or the makeup department, start late, then everything gets backed up. And he was like, that's on me. And I'm costing people time and I'm costing the company money. And I'm, and he's like, so no shit, he wasn't at WWE every week. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought I liked it. I just saw that. I don't know if that was even a recent interview or not, but that was really good. It makes, as good as John Cena is now and as big as a hit as Hawkeye was, I wish that Paramount would just get their head out of their ass and do a Bumblebee 2 with Haley Steinfeld and John Cena again, because their chemistry was good. John Cena was funny in that, and the movie was good, really good. Like, I don't know.
Maybe the new Transformers will be good.
Maybe.
I forget what it's called. Transformers.
Beast
Wars or something like that.
I think they're doing Beast Wars. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Do you want to just call it?
I think we probably should. That's what I was thinking.
We'll
just change the title on the thumbnail.
Yeah. Well, we ended up just talking about TV of 2022 instead of 2021. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. A bit of a shorter show. Yeah. But I like that we're able to do these kind of just loose form, kind of free form shows here that don't have much of an agenda on them. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us. You check out our merch store, the link in the description. There's that beautiful merch right there, that beautiful wow, look at these guys. But you can check that out in the link in the video description. Make sure to follow us at the official PFN on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for all of our reactions, news, reviews, everything that we post over on those platforms. Yeah, I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. Thanks for joining us, episode 71. That'll do it for me.
I was your other host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know maybe what you thought of Peacemaker, Euphoria, and what was the other thing? Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett.
And maybe what video game movie do you think The Rock is going to be making next? So yeah, check out all our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Check out our Twitch. Follow us there, and we will see you next time.
Boom.